Alright, so what is up guys? In the last video I went over what we are going to be making in this tutorial series, and in this video we are going to be going over all the XML attributes and just getting all the visuals covered. So to do this we are going to start by going to my Git repository, which you'll be able to find in the video description down below, and in here we are going to go and click on app and click on the build.gradle, because the first thing I have to go over are all the build.gradle plugins. And the first thing we want to do is copy these two plugins up here. So let's go to our newly created empty Android Studio project and go to the Gradle scripts and click on build.gradle. Up here we will add in the Kotlin capt, which allows us to use the captions from Kotlin, and the navigation safe args, which allows us to transfer items, values from one navigational component to another, so one fragment to another. And then we have to add these infamous compile options so our app will function correctly. And I usually do this all the time because last time it took me about half an hour to find out what the bug was, and it was just the compile options. And after we're done adding the compile options, we can go back to the Git repository and add the rest of the dependencies. So I'm just going to copy it from the top to the bottom so I make sure I don't miss anything. And I will briefly go over what I have decided to include. So the first thing to notice is that I had coroutines, so I could actually make some tasks run in the background and asynchronously. Then I decided to add the navigational components, which allow us to add values and transfer them between fragments, and also just to make the navigation a lot easier when you have to change between fragments. Then I had to add a few of the lifecycle components, such as live data, live extensions, and the view model component, just to take care of the MVVM architecture components that will help us with handling live data. Then we have a retrofit 2 implementation, which I am not going to be using in this tutorial. I don't know why I have it here. I must have been experimenting with something, but you can safely ignore that. Otherwise, it's just used for making HTTP requests. And then down here we have the implementation that we will use for our room database. And right below we have one for the date and time picker. So it makes picking the date and time a lot easier, and it's just nice to have. Then we have one for the view pager 2 and a circle indicator, which goes along with the view pager 2. So it looks nice when the user swipes their screen to the left or right, they will see a small indicator at the bottom. That's all we have to do for our build.gradle, but we also have to go to the project level build.gradle. So let's go back to our GitHub repository and click on the back button. And here on the intro screen, you'll see there's a build.gradle file, and this will take us to our project Gradle file. And inside here, you'll see there's a definition for the nav version, and this is used for the safe args Gradle plugin. So we'll just go ahead and paste that in there, and you can see navigation-safe args Gradle plugin. And this is required for us to use this part over here, so definitely don't forget that. Then we're going to go ahead and click on sync now. I already clicked it earlier by mistake, but now that we have everything, it should compile correctly. This looks promising. And as soon as our Gradle sync has finished, we can go ahead and close the Gradle scripts folder and go to values. And the only thing I want to change in here for now are the colors, and we will change it to a light green, and the bottom one to a light green, and the primary dark is going to be a dark green. But you are more than welcome to pick whatever colors you prefer to have in your application. And after we've selected our colors, we can safely close the values folder and create a new folder. So we will right click, click new, and we will click an Android resource file. And this one's going to be for our navigation. We're just going to call it main_nav. And you can see that we have a tab that says navigation, and then we will click on OK, and it will create a new navigation folder for us. And this is going to be for us to travel through our fragments. So the first one we're going to create is our home fragments, and we're going to say create new destination and click on an empty fragment. And this one's going to be called the habit list. And then you can click on finish, and that will take care of that. And it's already set as our home fragment, which is perfect. And as soon as it's done syncing, we can go ahead and create 2 more of these fragments. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and click on this again and create another new destination, fragment blank. And this is going to be the create habit item fragment. And click on finish. Then there's only one more to create, so let's go create a new destination. It's going to be another blank fragment. And this is going to be for us to update our item. So update habit item. And click on finish. I'm going to drag these and organize them a bit. So we're going to have the create item up there and the update item down here. And we're just going to drag this here. So we set up a path, and we're going to set up another path to the update habit item. And both of these want to return to the home item. So right there we have successfully defined paths for our fragments, and this will tell us where they should go and where the up button should bring them. And the last thing I want to do in here for now is go to our split view and give these some better labels. So for the fragment list, you'll see there's a label that says fragment_habit list. We're going to just change that to habits. And this will appear on the action bar, so it just looks a lot nicer if you edit these. And just so I don't forget, I will just do it now. And inside here, we'll type in create habit. And for the final label for update habit, we'll just type in update habit. And that will just make our action bar look a lot nicer. But that's all we have to do in here for now. We will definitely be coming back to this navigational tree later, because we do have to implement a few new features as we progress with the app. So we are not completely done with the navigation part, but for now it is perfect. All right, so up next, we should go to our drawable file and right click and click on new vector asset. We're going to create a few icons because this will be where the user can select their icons and for our menu items. And to get started, we will go ahead and create the fast food icon. So we're going to click on fast food, and we will start with the outlined version and click on OK. We will keep it black, but we will just remove the 24. So it will be IC_outline fast food, and click on finish. Then we will right click again and go to new vector asset, and we're going to pick the same food icon. So fast food, except this one's going to be the filled version. And you should pick a color of your choice. So I'm just going to pick this weird orange and click on next and then finish. And then we have to go and click on the drawable folder again. And this time we're going to click on drawable resource file. And this is going to be a selector. So all you have to do is type in fast food underscore selected and click on OK. And inside here, we're going to create an item with an Android drawable. And this is going to be the outline that we've created of the fast food. So IC_outline fast food, and the state selected is going to be set to false. Now we're going to create an item right below that, and it's going to be Android drawable at drawable fast food baseline 24. Although I would really like to rename that, so we're going to just refactor it, and we're going to change it to IC fast food. And then we want to pick a state selected, and this is going to be set to true. Now, if you go up here, you'll see that if you test it out by tapping on selected, it will be highlighted and filled with the color that we've selected. And that's a really neat effect we will use later in our application. And now we have to do this 2 more times because we want to have a total of 3 selectable icons. And I'm just going to fast forward through this, so you are more than welcome to watch. So let's go. Alright, so I've just finished creating all the icons. So as you could see, I created one for smoking, and I created the outline for also one that was called tea. So we've got the outline for tea and smoking. Now we just have to go ahead and create those as we have done for the fast food selected one. So we can just copy and paste that, but of course change the name. So we'll change that to T selected. And inside T selected, we will start with the first drawable, which will be the ICT outline. And this one down here will just be ICT. So now we've created the T selectable, and we should copy and paste this one more time, but this time we're going to do it for the smoking. And inside here, as you might have guessed it, we're going to start with the smoking outline, which is just a black smoking symbol. And then we are going to get the original smoking. And now if we click on the selected button, you'll see that it will change from black to red, and it looks great. And I also decided to create an additional 2 icons. One is the delete icon, which is just a rubbish bin, and the add icon, which we will be using for our floating action button. And finally, there's one more thing I want to create in here, and that is a shape. So we're going to go to drawable resource file, and inside here you can just type in shape, and we will just call this round_button. And this is just going to give our buttons a round appearance, so it looks a bit more smooth. And it's actually very easy. Inside here, all you have to do is type in corners, and then we're going to give it a radius of 10 dp and close it. And that will create the background for our round buttons. So that was very easy. And that will take care of creating all of the drawables we need for this project. So now we can comfortably close this drawable folder. And up next, we have to create a menu folder. So we'll click on new Android resource file, call it nav_main, and it will be of type menu. Then click OK. So that will give us a preview of what we have so far. But inside here, we need to add one single item, which will be used for our habit list if we want to delete all the items. So we'll type in item, and it's going to give us an ID, or we're going to create an ID of nav_delete. And the icon is going to be our delete icon. So we're going to do IC delete, and we should give it a title that says delete everything. Then we're going to write show as action, and we will write with text. Then we will close this, and this will take care of our home menu bar. But we also have to create another menu bar. So we're going to go ahead and click on menu resource file. And inside here, we'll type in single item menu. And this will be found when we are editing an item, whether we want to delete a single item or we want to do anything to that single item. So we can actually just go back and copy this and paste it in here. And it's not happy because we have not assigned this namespace. So just right click and implement it. And then we will just change this to delete notes and change this as if room. So this one will always be displayed in the top right hand corner as an action because it's only one action and that's all we need. As opposed to our nav_menu, we want it to have maybe several actions. So you can definitely add different items later. In this tutorial, we will not be adding anything, but it's always good to have some space or some leeway if you want to add something new or implement another function. And that will take care of our menu folder. Now, the final thing we have to do is go ahead and edit our layout. So let's go ahead and click on layout. And as you can see, we have an activity main folder and we have 3 fragments. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and click on activity main and delete the hello world. And then we need to find our nav host fragment. So as you can see down here, I just typed it in the search bar and it gave me the suggestion. And you'll just drag it in here and it will give us our navigational component as a suggestion, and click on OK. And it already has inserted our list fragment. So now we can just go ahead and fix what's in here. So let's get rid of these tools. And we want this to match our parents and also this to match our parents. Then let's change this ID to something that's a little bit easier to understand, such as nav host fragment. And finally, let's give this a background caller of hashtag or octothorpe or whatever you want to call it of 22222, 6 twos. And that will just give the background a very dark appearance. But of course, you don't need to make it dark. You can even just leave it as a light background if you want. But for the purposes of this video, I will continue with what I've created. Then I'm going to go ahead and create a new layout resource file. And we are just going to call this recycler_habit_item. And click on OK. And inside here, instead of creating it live, we are going to go to my GitHub repository, click on habit tracker, click on the app, click on the source, we will click on main, then there will be a res folder, and there will be all of my layouts from earlier. So we're just going to click on recycler habit, and we are going to copy all of this. So let's see if there was a shortcut. So I'll just do this, and I will go in here and just paste it in. And as you can see, as soon as we've copied and pasted, you'll have the exact same card view as I have over here. So let me just go over what I did real quick. And the first thing I have is a card view with the ID of CV_card view, and that just holds all of the items inside. Then I put an image view, which is our IV_habit_icon, which just puts this icon in the background of the card view. So it's faded to 10%, and it just gives it a slight decoration appearance for the card view. Then we have a linear layout with a linear layout inside, which will hold our text views and our descriptions. And right here we have the title, which is called TV_item title, and it's just bold and big. Then we have the TV_time elapsed, which is right below the bold title, and a view, which is just a divider of 1dp, and it just separates the title from the description below. Then outside of the linear layout tag, we have a TV_item description, so that's right below, and it just gives the description. And finally, we have the TV_item created timestamp, which is the bottom part right here. And that's all we have in this recycler view. So you're more than welcome to explore it, but we will move on to the next component. And the next one we're going to add is the intro item page. This will be for when the user uses the app for the first time. They will be greeted with a view page or 2 page. So we'll click on OK, click on split. And just as earlier, we will go back to the GitHub repository. We'll click on layouts and you'll see that we have the intro item page right here. We will just click on raw so we can just copy and paste that easily and go back here and paste that in. And all you need to note here is that we have a linear layout, and inside we have an image view that's called IV_image intro, which is this big image here, and a text view, which is the description right below it. So TV_description_intro. And then after this, we can go to our fragment_habit list. And you might have guessed it, we're just going to go back to the GitHub repository and copy what we had earlier for that. So we'll click on raw, and in here, we're just going to copy and paste that as we've always done, and we will paste it in here. And as you can see, we have a few errors. So the first thing we're going to do is remove everything in front of habit list, and that should resolve that error over there for the tools.context. And then for the list item, we should just go ahead and do add recycler habit item, and this time it should work correctly. And now I understand why there was an error. It's because I have a big typo in my naming. So let's go ahead and fix that by using the refractor. So recycler habit_item. And then everything should be set to what you can see over here. So let's just get started with what I've done here. And I have a relative layout to get started. Then I added a swipe to refresh layout, which just goes around the recycler view. So that when the user goes to the top of the recycler view, they can choose to swipe down to refresh it in case they need to refresh something. I just like to include it in case there's something I want to refresh. And then we have a recycler view inside that has the ID of RV_habits. And it has the tools of a list item, which puts in the item we just created, the recycler_habit item, and inserts it in there. Then we have a floating action button with the ID of fab_add, and it has the drawable resource of IC_add. And as you can see down there, it is doing what it has to do, and it will lead us to our add item page. Then we have a text view at the bottom, which you can't see because I set the visibility to gone. But if we close that and set the visibility to true, you'll see that a text view will appear in the center. Not that you can really see it that well, but this is what will happen when there is no items, or when there are no items to be displayed in the recycler view. You'll get this empty view, and that is why it's called TV_empty view. It's something that will appear as soon as the recycler view disappears. But that's all we have to do in our habits list. Now the next two are going to be quite convoluted, so definitely follow me on this one because it's really important you understand what these layouts do before we continue with the app. But we're going to go to our create habit item, and we're going to click on the split view. But before that, let's go to our GitHub repository and find out what's inside there. So as you can see, fragment_create_habit, and then we will click on raw. And you'll see that this is a very long XML file, but we're just going to copy it as always so I can explain what I did in here. So right here, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this part right here. So we'll have the context only of the create habit item. And as you can see, it's a very simple layout to pick a title for the habit, to give a description to the habit, and to pick the dates and set the icon. At the bottom, we're missing the smoking icon. So let's go see what happened down there. It says smoking selected. And what did I call it over here? So let's go to our drawables. And instead of calling it smoking selected, I called it T_smoking. So we're just going to refactor that real quick. And we're going to call it smoking_selected. And then we can go back to our create habit item, and that will fix the smoking icon at the bottom. So everything should appear normal now, but let's just go over what I did here so you'll understand later what I refer to when we create the app. So the first thing I added was a relative layout to put everything inside. And then I added a scroll view because I realized that as soon as I turned the screen to the side, a lot of this was not visible to the user. So it was very important that the user was able to scroll down so they could continue to pick what they need to pick for their habit. And so the app would still be fluent and work correctly. So I thought the scroll view was very nice for orientation changes. Then we have a linear layout just to make sure everything stays in a line. And the first thing I added was an edit text of ET_, habit title, so you can add a title there. Then we have another edit text of et_habit description for the description, of course. Then we have a button with the button_pick dates, which will help us pick the dates. And as you can see, I gave it the background of @drawable round_button, and that's why we have these round edges, which look really good. Then we have a text view that will display the date selected, and right under that we have a button that will help us pick the time, and it's essentially the same thing as the pick date button, except it is blue and it has a different ID, which is button_pick time. Then we have the text view for TV_time selected, which will just help with our time selected to be displayed. Then we have a text view that displays the time that we have selected, and I named it TV_time selected. And right below that, I have another linear layout, except this one is with the orientation to horizontal. And this is just to take care of the buttons below. So as you can see, we have an image view with an ID of IV_T selected. And then we have the same concept going for the other two. And the final thing I added was a button which is called button_confirm. And this is just to make sure we can confirm a selection and the user can successfully create that habit. And that's all I did in the create habit item. Now we have to go to our update habit item. And as you may have noticed in the tutorial, it was nearly exactly the same thing with a few differences. So let's go to the Git repository and click on fragment update habit item. And then we're going to click on raw, and we're just going to copy all of this and paste it inside here. Then for the context, we're just going to remove all of this and change it to update habit item. This part right here is not really that important for us because, as you may have noticed, I left it on create habit item in the final project. So it didn't affect my programming in any way, but just for the purposes of this video, we'll keep it nice and clean and leave that there. And there's actually only one thing you need to note about the update habit item. And that is that at the end of each ID that I gave originally, I added the _update. So as you can see, the linear layout has ll_textviews_update. The edit text has habit title _update, and so on. Even the buttons, button_picktime_update. And this will just help me differentiate the two layouts when I have to use it in the update fragment. And that was actually all we had to do for the front end of this application. So in the next video, we'll actually be jumping into the code and we'll be getting started with creating a few fragments and cleaning things up a bit so we can actually make the app function the way we want it to function. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you.